You know, there's something truly special about a man who carries himself with quiet confidence, especially as the years go by. It's not about flashy clothes or trying to impress anyone. It's something deeper, something that lingers in the way you move through the world. And here's the thing, women notice. They always have. But sometimes, you might not even realize it. Have you ever walked into a room and caught a woman smiling at you just a little longer than usual? Or maybe you've had a conversation where she leaned in, laughed easily at your jokes, or found reasons to keep talking to you. These aren't just polite gestures. They're quiet signals, little signs that you've got a presence that draws people in, even if you don't always see it yourself. Now, you might be thinking, well, I'm not some Hollywood leading man. What could I possibly be doing that stands out? But that's the beauty of it. The things that make you stunning at this stage in life aren't about trying to be someone else. They're about the qualities you've honed over the years, often without even realizing it. So, let's talk about some of those signs, the subtle ways women notice and admire you, even if they don't always say it out loud. First, there's the way you listen. And I mean really listen. A lot of people these days are so busy waiting for their turn to speak that they forget the power of simply being present in a conversation. But when a woman talks to you, she can tell when you're genuinely engaged. Maybe you remember small details she mentioned weeks ago, or you ask thoughtful questions that show you care about her perspective. That kind of attention is rare, and it's magnetic. Women don't just appreciate it, they remember it. Then there's your confidence, not the loud, boastful kind, but the quiet, steady kind that comes from knowing who you are. You don't need to prove anything anymore. You've lived, you've learned, and that wisdom gives you a grounded energy that people naturally gravitate toward. A woman might not say, "Wow, he's so secure in himself," but she'll feel it. Maybe it's in the way you carry yourself, how you don't get flustered easily, or the calm assurance in your voice when you speak. That kind of confidence is incredibly attractive, whether you realize it or not. And let's not forget your sense of humor. A man who can make a woman laugh, not with forced jokes, but with wit, warmth, and maybe a little playful teasing, is always going to stand out. Humor is one of those things that bridges generations. It doesn't matter if you're 25 or 65, when you can share a moment of laughter, it creates a connection. Women notice that. They remember the men who make them feel light, who bring joy into the room without even trying. Now, these are just a few of the signs, but they're powerful ones. And the best part? They're all things that come naturally to you, even if you've never stopped to think about them. So, the next time you catch a woman smiling at you a little longer, or find yourself in a conversation that just seems to flow effortlessly, remember, it's not a coincidence. It's those quiet, stunning qualities of yours at work. And there's even more to explore, like the way you dress, the way you move, and the way you make people feel without saying a word. But we'll get into that next. For now, just know this, you've got a presence that matters, and it's time you started seeing it for yourself. You know, one of the most fascinating things about getting older is that the rules of attraction change, but in the best way possible. When you were younger, it might have felt like everything was about looks or trying too hard to impress. But now, it's the little things, the effortless qualities, that make all the difference. And women pick up on them more than you might think. Take the way you dress, for example. You don't have to wear the latest trends or squeeze into styles meant for men half your age. In fact, the most stunning older men know that true style is about owning what you wear. Maybe it's a well-fitted blazer that subtly highlights your shoulders, or a crisp button-down with the sleeves rolled up just right. It could even be something as simple as a pair of well-maintained shoes or a watch that hints at your personal story. Women notice these details. They signal that you take care of yourself, not out of vanity, but out of self-respect. And that's quietly powerful. Then there's the way you move. No, I'm not talking about dance floor skills, though if you've got those, more power to you. I'm talking about the way you walk into a room, the way you hold yourself when you stand or sit. There's a certain ease in your posture, a lack of hurry that suggests you're comfortable in your own skin. You're not slouching or shrinking into the background, but you're not puffing yourself up either. It's that natural, grounded presence that makes people, especially women, want to be near you. They may not consciously think, wow, he has great posture, but they'll feel the difference when you're around. And here's something you might not expect: your voice. A man's voice deepens and mellows with age, and when you speak with warmth and clarity, it's incredibly appealing. Women are drawn to voices that sound steady, kind, and full of life experience. It's not about being the loudest in the room, it's about speaking with intention. Whether you're telling a story, asking a question, or just sharing a quiet thought, the way you use your voice can make a woman lean in a little closer without even realizing why. Now, let's talk about something even more important: the way you make people feel. This is where so many stunning older men truly shine. You've lived long enough to know that life isn't just about you, and that awareness shows in how you treat others. Maybe you're the kind of man who remembers names, who offers a genuine compliment without expecting anything in return, or who has a knack for putting people at ease. Women remember how you make them feel valued, respected, maybe even a little special. And that's something they don't forget. Think about it. When was the last time a woman lit up just because you walked into the room? Or when did someone seem genuinely happy to see you, not because of what you could do for them, but just because of you? Those moments aren't accidents. They're signs that you've got a presence that leaves a mark, one that women quietly admire. And here's the best part: we're just scratching the surface. There's still more to uncover about the subtle ways you stand out, from the stories you tell to the way you handle life's ups and downs with grace. But for now, take a moment to appreciate these qualities in yourself. Because the truth is, you've earned them, and they're making more of an impact than you know. You know, there's a beautiful irony about getting older. The things we often worry about, losing our youthful looks, not being as sharp as we once were, tend to matter far less than we think. Because what really draws people in, especially women, has nothing to do with perfection and everything to do with authenticity. And that's something you've got in spades, even if you don't always see it. Let's talk about one of the most compelling things about you: your stories. Not just the adventures you've had, but the way you tell them. There's a richness in your voice when you share a memory, a glint in your eye when you recall something funny or meaningful. Women love a man who can take them somewhere with his words, whether it's a tale from your youth, a lesson learned the hard way, or even just an observation about life that makes them see things differently. It's not about bragging, it's about connecting. And when you share pieces of your life like that, it creates a kind of intimacy that's hard to fake. Then there's the way you handle challenges. Life has thrown its share of curveballs at you by now, and how you've met them says everything. Maybe you've faced loss, setbacks, or surprises that could have made you bitter, but instead, you've got this quiet resilience. Women notice that. They admire a man who doesn't fall apart when things get tough, who can weather a storm with dignity and even humor. It's not about being stoic or unfeeling, it's about showing that you've got depth, that you're someone who can be relied on. That's incredibly attractive, whether you're 25 or 75. And here's something you might not realize: your hands. Now, stay with me here. A man's hands tell a story, whether they're strong and weathered from years of work, or elegant and expressive when you talk. Women notice hands. They suggest capability, tenderness, experience. Maybe you've had a woman reach for your hand without thinking, or you've caught her watching yours when you're gesturing or fixing something. It's a small thing, but it's one of those quiet, subconscious details that can make you unforgettable. But perhaps the most powerful thing about you is your energy. Not the run a marathon kind, though if you can, more power to you, but the way you make people feel when they're around you. Do you lift the mood in a room just by being there? Do people relax when you're near, like they can let their guard down? That's a rare gift. Women are drawn to men who radiate warmth and safety, who make the world feel a little kinder just by how they move through it. And if you've ever had someone tell you, "I always feel better after talking to you," then you know exactly what I mean. So here's the truth: you're not just aging, you're evolving. And the qualities you've gathered along the way are the very things that make you stunning now. Not in the flashy, obvious way of youth, but in a deeper, more lasting way that lingers in people's minds long after you've left the room. The next time you catch a woman smiling at you from across the table, or notice her tucking her hair behind her ear as you talk, or feel her leaning in just a little closer, don't brush it off. That's not politeness. That's admiration. That's her responding to the man you've become. And if you take nothing else from this, remember this: the right women see you. Really see you. Not for what you were, but for who you are now, and that's more than enough. In fact, it's extraordinary. Here's to owning that, to stepping into the rest of your life knowing just how much you bring to the table. Because the best part? You're just getting started.